Okay, so thank you for coming here to listen to our presentation. So
I don't know. Is it?
Are the numbers going?
Yeah, it's working. It's
oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna be looking at. Okay, so we're gonna be looking at the development and evaluation of alternatives for SNOWBUS. So you can click to the next slide. So our agenda today is we're gonna be doing an overview of SNOWBUS. We'll be looking at the pestle analysis, which is the external environment, and then we'll look at the SWOT and value chain, that is the internal analysis of the company, and then we will tell you about our objectives and recommendations, and finally end with our conclusion. And Shanky will tell you a bit of background about SNOWBUS, even though you probably know it.
Yeah,
but just in case
you can test them now.
Tell me
what
you know.
Just because we're doing this for recording for Phil. So SNOWBUS is it's a product of Whistler Sightseeing. It's a seasonal business. It's a Vancouver to Whistler, Whistler to Vancouver service, runs approximately from November to March, carries 15,000 passengers per season on an average. Some of the value-added services are discounted lift tickets, washrooms, guide, protein snacks, YBR drop-offs, which Dara will talk about it after. We're just not going to go into detail for this because we know you already know about the SNOWBUS overview and background.
Okay, so for the pestle analysis, we found external factors impacting tour operators overall. So the first one is economic factor that we found was the exchange rate. So the exchange rate determines the value of a country's currency in respect to other countries' currency's value. It will affect tourism operators by what markets they will be attracting and the customer's purchasing decision. So for example, tourists may choose to travel to one destination over another due to the value of the dollar. Sometimes you see this with Americans visiting Canada because their dollar is stronger.
For the social component, we found two things that relate. So the first one was generation shifting. So there's a lot of baby boomers that will be retiring in the next upcoming years, as well as we're finding that a lot of millennials these days are having more more disposable time as well as income. So it provides the opportunity of us of focusing on two different demographic groups. So we can either focus on the baby boomers, which will also, because they're retiring, they'll have more time and money as well, since they won't be working, they'll be away from family, so it gives them the opportunity for flexibility, as well as those millennials in the local community.
Okay, and then the second social factor we found was the aging population. So being aware of the changing demographics will help operators target specific markets or change their current marketing strategies. So with the knowledge that seniors are going to be the majority of the population, it's important that these operators are aware of their wants and needs of these specific customers.
For the T part of pestle, so the technology, we have mobile tech as one of the factors. So by 2018, it's seen that by 90% of adult Canadians will have smartphones by then. So this affects tour operators in terms of they'll have to change or alter their nature of bookings and websites, because mobile tech creates an easier and efficient way of communicating and connecting with potential markets out there.
Oh, and then another technological factor we found was online booking. So according to statistics, almost 40% of all tour and activity bookings are done online. So tour operators should take advantage of this knowledge by creating simple and accessible booking online. This affects tour operators because customers will be more likely to choose online booking over the phone or travel agents.
So for the legal component, we looked mostly on things that would affect and impact SNOWBUS. So a lot of it was just the laws and regulations that we have in BC. So for bus drivers, I'm sure you know, Class 2 driver's license required to drive any buses. And also during the winter season, a lot of the highways in BC require that you have winter tires as well as chains between October 1st and March 31st, which is in between our SNOWBUS season. So the BC federal and provincial laws create strict rules and regulations, such as specific license requirement, lengths of work shifts, and the number of hours a driver can accumulate within a multi-day or a day work shift. So for example, drivers are only allowed in BC to have 13 hours of driving consecutive in a 24-hour span.
Okay, and then our last factor is environmental impacts. So global warming is affecting tour operators, especially ones who depend on snow as their business. So if there's no snow, these operators cannot continue with their company. So tourism companies that rely on snow must look at alternative options due to changing climate and the unreliability of availability of snow.
So like surf bus?
Yeah, exactly. So then that will lead us into talking about SWOT that Shanky will tell you about, which was taken from our pestle.
Yeah, just before that, either we can talk, you can interfere in the middle, or we can station as well. SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, coming from PESTEL and industry analysis. The strengths of SNOWBUS is the SNOWBUS license, which we operate from Vancouver to Whistler. We operate that. Operated by West Coast Sightseeing, so West Coast Sightseeing is one of the biggest tour operators here. We know that SNOWBUS is a product of that. Distribution locations such as concierge wholesalers, Canada Place. We have a good hold on distribution locations. Driver and staff retention. One of the weaknesses is seasonality. However, driver and staff retention is a good thing for SNOWBUS, so that at least people are working year round. Opportunities, Canadian dollar exchange rate, trend of active lifestyle, as baby boomers are retiring, a lot of people are looking for snow activities such as ATVing, snowshoeing and all that. That's the trend of active lifestyle. More online presence and online booking engine, as a lot of people are going to have smartphones. Potential partnering and contracts with schools is one of the recommendations you'll see. And an opportunity is increases international students and visitors visiting Vancouver. A lot of people are coming to Vancouver, that's a good opportunity as well. Weaknesses and threats, old and weak coaches, driver restrictions, product seasonality, and weak local marketing, since majority of the people here in this room didn't even know what SNOWBUS was. And Janice saw something today. You want to?
It wasn't today, but I was talking to Shing about SNOWBUS, how I'd never really noticed it before, because I am driving up the City Sky Highway basically every week, and for the first time I actually saw the SNOWBUS. I actually noticed, and I was like, oh, there's SNOWBUS. Yeah, so I saw it.
And you said it was black and...
It was black and white and then some red, so it didn't exactly pop out to me. Obviously I'm concentrating when driving.
And it's driving by you?
I passed it.
Okay.
But obviously the buses are moving slower than me.
Threats, climate change, unfavorable snow conditions, well-developed substitutes, local mountains such as cypress, Seymour and grouse, key industry competitors, Epic Rides, Pacific Coastlines, and Greyhounds. So the threats are the big ones which we need to make business decisions and keep that in mind.
And now we're moving to value chain analysis. So what is that first of all? It's a set of activities which create an additional value for our customers and which sets you apart from different competitors, right? So it can be divided by two. It's a core product and support activities. So core product is daily shuttle service between Vancouver and Whistler. So basically it's transportation from point A to point B. It's exactly what our customer buys. But at the same time we have a lot of support activities which creates a value. So company's infrastructure, as you know, is operated by West Coast. So it's a reliable name, and it gives us an opportunity. It gives us access to a marketing department, to operations department, to accounting as well. So it creates an efficiency and reliability for our customers. Also, human resources, Shanky shared that your drivers have a full-time employment. So in the summer most of them, right? So in the summer they operate summer roads. In the winter you have a special City Sky highway training, which creates an additional safety for our customer, which can be a value as well. Also technology, we have 5 coaches, which mean they meet comfort and safety standards right now. So they have a movies on board, they have washroom, they have Wi-Fi, additional snacks. It just creates a comfort for our clients. Also sales and marketing, it's a big part because as girls mentioned before, right now everything is going online, and West Coast and SNOWBUS in particular meets these requirements. So there's a variety of booking options, starting from a kiosk and online booking system and call center, right? And also concierges and OTAs, which creates an efficiency in booking process for your clients. And the last one is servicing. So there are different pick-up and drop-off locations, and also clients can choose different options of when they want to come back, and no cancellation fee, which is a really good point for clients because there's no obligations. And overall, it creates such values as efficiency, reliability, safety, comfort, flexibility, accessibility, and less obligations, which overall creates a positive experience for a client. Yes, it's easy to replicate from different companies, but at the same time, you can see that the strategy to have a best value for a customer works for a SNOWBUS product. And from this point, we're moving to our objectives and recommendations.
So we established 4 objectives for SNOWBUS. The first one is to increase the average check per passenger. The current revenue per passenger is $20, and then the desirable revenue is $23, give or take. I'm going to establish like the exact number. So our recommendations to achieve this goal are creating family-oriented activity packages such as snow tubing, ski rentals and lessons, snowmobiling, and snowshoeing. Our second one is creating early bird packages, where customers can receive a discount for buying tickets early. And then our third one is creating a season's pass for specific target groups such as schools or university students. And the implications we found for this is that the sales and marketing team needs to be very clear on what packages and products are being offered to avoid confusion with the current ones already in place.
And then that early bird packages was if you buy SNOWBUS tickets in advance, pre-booked in advance, you can't get a discount, like 7 days, 21 days.
30 days.
Yeah, so like with a specific number of days. And then Shanky will tell you about our second objective.
Second objective was increase ridership by 10%. So targeting towards weekdays and morning southbound, mostly those departures. So create ride and lift packages for locals. We already have a ride and lift package, but create more towards families such as tubing and snow activities. Partnering with universities and secondary schools. So partnering with universities, so we target more students. Partnering with Whistler Blackcomb employees and Whistler residents. Whistler Blackcomb employees don't know much about SNOWBUS and Whistler residents, so you partner with them, so when they come into city of Vancouver, it's a cheap alternative for them to come down. Create loyalty program for BC residents. This is a big one we think which is good because West Coast is becoming so big, there's opportunities in the summer and winter, so we do a BC loyalty program. And new snow destinations such as Hemlock just came out with a new plan, so new snow destinations to Big White, Hemlock, Sun Peaks, and a couple of other things. Hemlock is also 2 hours away, which is the same distance as Whistler, so I think that's a good opportunity as well. The implications by this will be complexity of operations and logistics with more buses, more bookings, and trying to just distribute everything.
So for our objective 3, although SNOWBUS and West Coast already have a presence on social media through Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, we just want to increase the awareness to help bring up the brand a little bit more. So we came up with increasing of a total of 3,000 followers just accumulated through our social media channels that we have right now. So a few things that we've done and thought about for recommendations would be to implement Google AdWords. So if anyone is looking for a mode of transportation to get up to Whistler or to come down into Vancouver, vice versa, SNOWBUS would be the first thing that will come up. As well as to increase social media presence by creating a two-way interaction with our guests and people who have participated in SNOWBUS. So this could include retweeting their posts, pictures, and all of that. The next one would be to partially or participate in sponsoring events. So like Shanky said, we wanted to create a partnership with schools in BC through universities or ESL schools. So what we could do is that Capilano every year has a event called Rail Jam, which is we bring in snow. A lot of companies and mountains come down to help distribute their products and create awareness. So I feel like that would be a great opportunity for SNOWBUS to come in as well. And lastly would be for during the winter season, since we operate our hop on hop off as well, would be to have SNOWBUS advertising on the hop on hop off, just so like a wrap around the bus, so just around the city you could create awareness and all of that. The implications for this objective would be just with the increase in marketing, obviously would be the increase in budget expenses.
Mm-hmm. And we're moving to our fourth objective, which is to establish 6 new SNOWBUS clients and partnerships. So while we picked 6, it's a real number which can be achieved within a short time. So it can be also adjusted and changed in the future if we achieve this number. And so as you can see, most of our recommendations are focused on Whistler because we know that in Vancouver we have quite a big and wide network, but at the same time we have a lack of partnership in Whistler. So we would like to partner with food and beverage sector to provide like a special employee rate to increase coming from Whistler occupancy on the bus from Whistler. At the same time, with our partnership with Whistler accommodation gives us an opportunity to create additional product for our customers. For example, one night stay and coming back for the next day with a SNOWBUS. Also, we would like to partner with local universities and school districts in Vancouver as well as ASL colleges because it's an access to a new market. We can create custom product and we can keep our buses occupied during the week with the schools, universities, and ESL colleges. But at the same time, as soon as demand is increasing, we need more human resources to serve this demand properly. And from this we are moving to conclusion. And so all our recommendations were developed specifically for each objective, and they were based on internal and external analysis. So it was not just pop up, right? It was based on things.
You didn't just make it up?
No, we didn't really make it up. We wanted to, but according to strategic management course, you cannot do it. It should be based on something, right? So, yeah, it was all based on PESO. It was based on SWOT analysis and value chain. And right now, our next step is to create a plan of action, which will be first discussed with you. What would be a priority for SNOWBUS? And from this point, we will create a plan of action for one specific objective and recommendations. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Good work. It's a very good presentation. It's to the point. The objectives are interesting. They're good. They're all good. I would say that if I were to distill it, you could take all 4 objectives and make them one objective. Our objective as a company, I want to increase ridership, let's say it's by 10%, and I want to increase the average dollar per person by $3.
And those tie in like.
That's an objective
yeah.
right there. So that, just using those 2 numbers, I can tell you what my projected revenue is going to be. And what you've identified as actions all lead to that same thing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So there's a lot of actions, there's a lot of things there. I know I can appreciate that you probably wouldn't be able to put each one of those actions in place. But how do you see this going forward? Are you hoping that I'm just going to tell you which objective I want you to go with? Or are we in a position to retool the objectives so that we're moving forward in a more effective manner that will realistically help the business?
Yeah, absolutely. We can reposition the objectives, and out of the 4 objectives and recommendations, you can even choose like two, like a little bit of everything, or one. Because Phil said like whatever you prefer. Maybe you might pull some things from here, some things from here,
Sure.
And then you can just set up reposition so it actually works well.
Yeah, and we found that a lot of them were like relatable too. Like some of them had similar recommendations, like and they tie in exactly with each other. So.
Okay. So you can appreciate what I'm saying then.
Yeah.
Kind
No,
of
we're
makes
totally
sense.
okay with it being like extra.
But definitely our goal is actual results. Not
Yeah,
just in paper.
that's it. Yeah, this isn't like if we're just sitting here for the academic part of it, then we're sort of defeating the purpose. Because I could say, yeah, these are all great. Go do objective 1, but this isn't how I would run my business. Okay, does that make sense? So if we're going to run a business off this, phenomenal ideas. There's some things in here that we haven't thought about as a business. That's why you're here. So you guys have brainstormed. You found some cool ideas. Ultimately, I want a revenue target as our objective. It's fair?
Yes.
Okay.
So we can go back to objective 1.
Yeah. So I mean, your increase average check from 20 to 23. That's great. That's fine. And that's actually pretty realistic. We're actually probably closer to $21. But even if we said let's target 23, and at 10%, we'll set that target. We can set that target very easily. Right, Chase? We know what number we're going to be at. Okay. So we'll provide that number, and that can be your top line objective. Your part of your objective. Okay. I think we need an online component. Under the online component that includes online booking, which I'm not worried about because we're already doing that. That includes mobile abilities, and that includes social media. Right? And for SNOWBUS especially, I think that's important. I'm sure Shanky's told you, we've put some extra effort into SNOWBUS social media this year using a contracted company. If we could find a better way of doing it, we would absolutely. Right? But it's something that you guys can talk about, okay? Packaging, for sure. I'm open to whatever you think we can do to make people interested in buying our product. I suppose my question, when I talk about packaging, it's objective one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the family packages, the early bird packages, and then seasons pass. You can sort of lump that in, sort of product related. I think it's important, but I'm not so sure that that's going to push your revenue targets. I think it's more marketing and sales based than the product type that we're putting out there. Because what we know is that people want to get there easy and cheap, and they want to buy discounted lift tickets, right? So children, family packages, families. We haven't focused on families because when you put 2 adults and 2 children on a bus, it's almost cheaper to drive on the road. So what's our target market? So you probably have to convince me a little bit on that. Okay. New locations, absolutely. So I think that is a revenue generating idea, and I think that's something that should be focused on for sure. On what it looks like, you tell me. Is that a scheduled service on a weekly basis? Is that charter services, like packaged charter services?
I believe it can be a charter service because as we go into personal analysis and we know the regulations for driver, for example, Sun Peaks or Big White or other destinations, it won't work for one day. It should be a package and should be a charter.
Sure.
It should be for some specific client.
So when I'm talking about charter, it's based on I phone you up and I want 20. I have 20 people, 20 friends that I want to go on a trip. And scheduled is more. I shouldn't use the word scheduled, but if the 5 of you want to go to Sun Peaks, but you don't want to drive your own car, how do you get there? Well, what if we offered a product once a month that went to Sun Peaks? The 5 of you could buy on with 20 others.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So we're creating like very customized schedules or customized charters that people can buy onto. So that might be an interesting way to look at it. A little bit of like the Club ESL model. They do it for university kids. Maybe we don't play around in that market. Maybe we play around in that market that's like you guys and a little higher, right? Not super cheap, but not super expensive. So that's something to think about and an option on a new product. What about not just new destinations for, not just new destinations, but what about new pickup locations? Is there an opportunity there to find other areas within Vancouver that would benefit our loads?
Well, I think too, when we're thinking of partnering with schools, we would be picking up from the schools.
Yeah.
We wouldn't make them come downtown.
Because you
Okay.
mentioned
Custom pickup.
one of our competitions was UBC pickups, right? Yeah, so that one would be,
Yeah, if we were partnering with like the universities.
yeah,
Sure.
that
We
would
would
be
also pick up.
So so that I think that has that'll play a big role in generating more revenue because we need to find a place to go to find more people. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Loyalty program, yeah, I mean I'm all for loyalty programs. I just don't I don't know how we turn that into a bigger deal. So that's something you guys can think about if you wish. And I say that because our SNOWBUS customer is different than our West Coast customer. Our SNOWBUS customer is local, our West Coast customers are visiting, right? So it's a little bit more, I'd love to take some of those SNOWBUS customers and make them West Coast or vice versa, but
But they might not
it's
be
tough.
here.
yeah.
I'm all for partnerships. I'm still trying to figure out how to make money on it. So how do the partnerships get us to the primary objective that we're looking at? And maybe it's an outlet, a sales outlet, maybe it's a combination of, we promote them, maybe it's a marketing deal. What would that look like?
Yeah, because we're thinking with partnerships that would just introduce us to a new target market that we're not accessing right now.
Sure.
But that ties also in with schools and legal or the objectives.
Schools are great. Partnerships with schools and ESLs. I know we've tried the ESLs, but I think we can keep working on that. Whistler Accommodations is a fabulous one. I might skip the F&B one, maybe only because I've already tried it. And they're interested for 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we're thinking of going with Gibbons.
Yeah, we've got a relationship with them.
Okay.
We worked with them for 5 years, and they've given us 25% off loans and things like that. But it's great value. But what do the value? We wasted a lot of time last year on our snow card program, a lot of time and a lot of money, and we didn't get anything from it. So I sort of scaled it back, and I said, okay, let's worry about the basics, and we need to do what's going to drive seats and drive revenue.
Yeah, for ESL colleges, I think Dara had an idea. She was like, it's not the ESL schools, it's the ESL colleges.
It's a bit different thing because ESL schools is a bit different market because they have different money perception because they're all like Silicon currency exchange. Versus ESL colleges is a privately owned universities and schools.
Beautiful, love it.
Who works like with tourism and business programs. There are quite a lot of them. There's at least like 5 of them in downtown. For example, tourism college, or there's a few of them even here in Gastown. This is a full-time students, and at the same time we can target them.
Sure.
Because it would be easier than ESL schools who are here to learn English. Yeah.
So they've got companies sitting right in those schools selling products. Love it. Good job. Okay. We talked about social media, which kind of online social media. Yeah, I think it's important. Marketers love likes and follows and all that stuff because it makes them feel like it's they've got something to show. It feels like progress, but that progress doesn't actually generate revenue. You got to find the direct link between those likes and how to get those people on the bus. So just something to think about. I would worry less about the type. Look, likes are important because it shows that we're sort of knocking on the right doors for our social media campaign or online campaign. But how do we make sure that's converting for us? That's the only thing I would add to that.
So from social media, would you focus on Google marketing or?
That two-way communication we're talking about?
Yeah, two-way communication. It's basically like making some small events or challenges or hashtag conditions, just to increase engagement with people. But it doesn't
like online contests.
Yeah, and we do that now. Maybe not as well as we could, and so for sure, include that on there too.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
But again, how to try to relate when we're doing contests. How does that relate to our objective?
Yeah, I was looking to make the money.
Yeah. To me, if we're going to spend money on this versus a SNOWBUS wrap, I'll take the SNOWBUS wrap because I know that at least we're going to get some exposure versus the contest when the moment it's over, it's over.
Yeah, one of the good ideas Diana had is our Hop and Hopper buses are running every time downtown, and why don't we advertise SNOWBUS instead of...
We never see it.
Probably a great idea. I can't believe we didn't think of it.
Yeah. We talked about that.
Okay. So ultimately, I feel like I've torn it apart a little bit. That's not to say you guys haven't done a good job. I think these are they're all very good objectives, and I'm probably just making the project a little bigger for you. But ultimately, we're in business to make money, and so that would be what I'd want my primary objective to be.
Okay, so just to confirm, so we can start working on it. So our primary objective will be to increase revenue.
Yes.
And our recommendations are basically like what we are going to work on. It's on online presence, same as like our actual presence. And it's not on DeepBus, right? And what else?
So you're online and social
We'll
media.
do like a lot of different recommendations. I think we're gonna tie in our recommendations from other objectives because it's still
Right.
made
And
them.
then we can
So
send you
like
an email.
yeah, so yeah, like
hey, how does it
online
look?
packaging,
Yes.
do new locations, increase exposure. We could do partnerships if it's actually gonna increase revenue in the long
Yeah.
run.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we can do is that we can discuss it with the group, and then we can say, hey, this is what we're gonna do and how, and then we can send you an email so you can see how it is, if you're on the right track, and then once you say go, then we just do it after.
Yeah.
So another thing to keep in mind, and part of what I'm doing here, I have a phrase for this, and we're taking a shotgun approach versus a rifle approach. So I want to make some big impact with our strategies, our tactics. I don't want to have a laser guided and focus on one thing, because we're not there yet. We've got a lot of work to do to penetrate this market. So I think we can do some big things that make a difference. 2 years from now, we can go down and be a little bit more focused, and then try to knock off these more advanced tactics. But so keep that in mind. So don't waste your time on the little things that will only move the needle a tiny bit.
Right.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect, so we'll send you an email after our discussion, and after talks with Phil, we'll see what the next is.
You guys did a great job. Honestly, the presentation is very good.
Thank you.
For what you know of the business and what you're attempting to do and the guidelines that you had within the course, I think it's very good. So nice job. Yeah. And sorry for flipping it upside